Welcome, everyone, to the final episode of Memories of Ice of
We,
Podcast of the Fallen. And what a hell of an ending this is.
we did it, guys.
Yeah, the summary is so long that I had to break up the summaries into. I have four parts of summaries on my phone because just chapter 25 and the epilogue alone, the summaries took up about half of the characters that a note on my phone can handle.
Oh, dang. It's quite a bit. I'm Matt, by the way. We didn't say
Oh,
our names.
yes. And I'm Nate. Um, we will try to get to everything, but Matt has something in 2 hours, so we'll see if we can be done by then. I assume we will. We've barely ever gone 2 hours, so
I know, and like as long as this is, I feel like it's not, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's good
yeah,
though.
let's just go right into it.
Let's do it.
Chapter 25. God, this is gonna take forever to read the summary. Chapter 25. Kroll enters the burial chamber in Hood's temple. Cole and Murillo stand against him, and he says he is not here to harm the Maib. Hood speaks through the knight's body and says that humans are audacious, with Kroll replying that it's their most admirable gift. It is time for the Maib to dream. Silver Fox sees the Malazan army preparing to charge the Kachane Shamal. All is in chaos, but she must continue what she set out to do. She enters the Talan Warren. The Maib thinks that she was not ready for motherhood, that not all mothers are prepared. She will not abandon the man trapped in her dream with her. Itkovian is flooded with memories of the Talane mass as he embraces them, flashes of thousands of lives. Crantrol offers to guide him and says he will not have to carry them far, and Itkovian accepts. The Maib and Silver Fox are both astonished at the raining of hail that is the Imass's memories of ice. Krupp comes to the Maib's aid, and we learn what Silver Fox was planning. The wolf within Talk yearns for freedom, but cannot break free, even as the memories of ice soothe it. The seer deposits the Changemal matron's power into a finist. Tool finds Talk and takes him into his arms of bone, calling him brother. The bridge burners hesitate in front of the breach into the keep until a Kachane Shamal approaches from behind. They all scramble through, but Hedge is too close and throws a cusser down at his feet, killing both him and the Chamal. Picker is disoriented and sends Buckland to find Blend, who has stones embedded in her back. Envy finds them and nonchalantly talks about the fighting and Talk, and she offers to heal them if they help her. Piran decides to send the remaining bridge burners on the roof down a trapdoor to help the others, while he and Quickben remain on the roof. Dujek realizes that a soldier he's been dragging is dead and drops him. The Malazan's held until the third wave of Kachane Shamal, and he doesn't think any cohesive defense exists. A soldier from another company informs him that a captain is dropping buildings on the lizards and is holding, and Dujek thinks that he could kiss the man. Gruntle and the Grey Swords prepare to charge. The Taistendi and Barghest will attempt to help as Taishran deals with the mages on the city walls. Korlat watches Taishran decimate the Panion mages before being succumbed, and Trake's legion being cut to pieces, along with the Grey Swords and Barghest. She veers to go save her brother, and Brood prepares to use his hammer, but stops. Envy determines Talk is on a level below them and heads that way. Panion soldiers appear, and Envy asks if the fighting will take long. Picker bitterly replies that it won't. Detorin is at point with Trotz in rearguard when the squad is attacked. Mallet sends Ansi and Spindle to help Trotz while he goes to Detorin. Then Apon manages to kill most of the enemy, with Mallet getting off a shot before Detorin is killed by axes. Ansi drops at the healer's feet, bloody but alive, and Mallet goes to help Trotz, but both are sent tumbling down the stairs. The Barghast is chopped up beyond recognition but is steady on his feet, and he jokes that he'll take point but avoid the kitchens. Tool sets Talk down on the floor when he's confronted by Mok, and makes the Segula promise to carry Talk away when they're done. They begin a fight too fast for the act to follow, as Talk feels the god within him strain for freedom. Within the dream world, Krupp begs the Maib to reach out and touch the cage, just as Talk is impaled on a wooden beam and sets Tog free. The wolf lets out a chilling howl, stopping Brood and sending the Talan A surging through the Kachane Shamal, decimating them. Kurald Ghislaine is gathering, and Piran feels like he's being crushed. Piran and Quickben head for the trap door, but see the Panion Seer and the Matron with two Kel hunters guarding them when the other two Segula appear and engage them. Moonspawn emerges from Coral's Bay. It's been hidden in Ortnal's cut this whole time and is riven with cracks, a lone figure standing on its ledge. Itkovian offers to take the Talanamas's pain and refuses to take no for an answer. He smiles as it surges towards him. Brood watches Moonspawn emerge, shocked at the full unveiling of Kurald Ghislaine. Envy realizes too late that Picker's comment was fatalistic and immediately kills the Eardoman, but only two bridge burners are left standing, with one other still alive. Mallet, Spindle, Ansi, and Trotz appear, Trotz sinking to his knees and dying with a death grin on his face. Envy is about to heal them when she feels curled Ghislaine unveil and insists they go somewhere clear of it. Tool is bested by Mock before Kalava intervenes and knocks the third Segula out from behind. Lannis Tog approaches and says she must find the summoner, and Tool offers to help her. Kalava will not, as she has come here for redemption. The other two disappear into dust. Baeljag sits by Tok's body, grieving. Kalava tells her that Tog will deliver Tok's soul, but not to Hood's gate, and opens a portal to Talan so the A can follow his trail. A moment after Kalava leaves, Envy and the bridge burners enter. Blend, Picker, Spindle, Ansi, Blue Pearl, and Mallet are all that remain. They refuse to accompany Envy to the roof and say they will rejoin Dujet's army or die trying. On the roof, Quick, Ben, and Peron watch the matron tear at the tiles underneath her as the Segula fight the hunters. Quick realizes Moonspawn isn't going to clear the roof and tells Telemandus that it's time. They rush the seer as Kalava dies for him, all of them disappearing through a portal as the mountain city destroys the roof. Gruntle collapses against a wall, watching the remains of his legion. Stani and he watch Moonspawn pull clear of the keep and rain water down on the city, when suddenly light across the city goes out. The Grey Sword Distrian invites them to a staging area, and Gruntle thinks that all of this was just to get 50 paces inside the gate. Corlat and Orphantal fly above the city and see Malazan ships approaching. She hesitates to descend, but Orphantal insists, telling her that grief is a gift the living give the dead. She stumbles on the field, and Brood says the Malazans have earned Coral if they want it, but the negotiations are between them and Rake, as the unveiling means Coral now exists simultaneously in their world and in Curl Ghislaine. Oh, and the Mott Irregulars were somehow inside the walls first, killing mages. Corlat approaches Whiskey Jack's body as Moonspawn sends salty water down, and her tears soon join it. Brood knows the image of her standing there will never leave him. Silver Fox wanders within the warren, encountering a group of Rivi spirits who are excited that the twin thrones of this realm will soon be occupied. They prepare a ritual to read a shoulder bone. Tok rides the soul of Tog, watching the A, which are Fandaray's offspring, running in a pack. Fandaray approaches and the two gods are reunited, together after hundreds of thousands of years, running towards their thrones. Krut brings the Maib to the Beast Thrones, where she is informed by the Rivi spirits that this world is for her. Silver Fox sought to heal the Talani Mass in the same way, but other things have happened. She will not awaken her old decrepit body due to an agreement with Hood. Tog asks for permission to release Tok, and she agrees. Ikovian now understands within himself the pain of all the Talani Mass. They do not understand why he shows them such compassion, and he tells his backstory and drops my personal favorite quote of the entire series. He was the shield anvil, and now he is done. Tool confronts Silver Fox and demands that she release the Talon A. She does, and is shocked at how little effort it takes. Lannis Tog will take her to the other IMAS, but Tool throws his sword down at her feet as a request. It is time for the Maib to be interred. Cole and Murillo make sure she is comfortable. The knight says that she will feel nothing in her sleep, but Cole says that's not the point. Quick, Ben, and Peron tumble from the warren with Kalava and the seer. Quick stops everything from coming to a head and explains that he has an idea. They will use the matron's finest, filled with living power, to free Panion's sister from the rent, who has been suffering this whole time. Kalava does not agree and wants vengeance for Tok's death, which shocks Peron. Quick knows where the two Jagut can stay, free from the Tulane Mass, and let Ontos Falak heal. The seer has just been a vessel for the crippled god's power. They free the Jagut sister, still a child. As Panion approaches, she reaches out her arms to him. The group travels into Burn, where they are met by the Witch of Tennis, Quickben spoke with in Pale. She will help Panion care for his sister as his unveiling of Ontos Falak heals Burn's infection. Kalava agrees that she will tell no one of this place, and Quick asks Peron to guide them out. Gruntle watches Corlat grieve as officers and leaders converge on the hilltop. Dujek is broken by the news, and Malazan negotiators arrive. He watches the Grey Swords ride to Itkovian, aside from One-Eyed Anaster, who remains on his horse. Gruntle finally accepts the title of Mortal Sword when one of his legion says that it's been purchased in blood. Tok wakes up in another, younger body and decides he will not abandon his gods. The Grey Swords welcome him as the Mortal Sword of Tog and Fandaray. Silver Fox is guided to a valley filled with Talane Mass. She begs forgiveness from Pran Troll, who now understands her actions. Itkovian did not redeem the IMAS, but gave them back their memories and unburdened them, and when released, they will return to this dream world. However, first they must travel to a distant continent to rescue their kin, and Silver Fox will join them. Picker sits on a foundation stone, exhausted. A wagon filled with bridge burner bodies waits for them at the gate. First in, last out, as always. Rake and Envy argue over Dragnipur and Draconis plotting to escape. Rake says that he's shocked it's taken this long and reveals that he knows Piran has walked within his sword. Picker and Blend walk away, Blend attempting to console her lover when they are stopped by Rake. He asks to walk with them. Picker says they're not pleasant company at the moment, and he agrees, but they are worthy company. They leave the city. Dujek asks if Whiskey Jack's leg was responsible for his death, and Corlat says it was not, that it broke afterwards. However, Mallet sees the body and immediately crumples to the ground. Rake asks that the 3 bodies on the hill, as well as the bridge burners, be interred within Moonspawn as it sinks into the sea, and Picker agrees. Piran and Quickben step out of the painted table with Kalava, confusing the Mott irregulars. Kalava leaves with one word of thanks. Quick laughs and says the irregulars are powerful warlocks, but the pair is brought up short when they see the hilltop. The bridge burner bodies are transported into Moonspawn, and Gruntle guides Stani down to Ikovian's body, where the Grey Swords make ready to bury him. The soldier Ikovian gave his helm to offers it back for him to be buried in, but the Destriant says Ikovian would refuse. The Malazans and their allies, as well as the Talan Imas, form ranks to honor Ikovian. Each Imas comes forward and places a gift on Ikovian's body in exchange for what he gave them, and after, each Malazan soldier does the same. Talan's sorcery will hold every object in place as Gruntle takes the torques off his arm to add. He tells Treach to live with the loss, because we do. Piran and Quickben stand watching Moonspawn drift away. Piran grieves that he wasn't there for the ritual of sending off Whiskey Jack, a ritual he's never understood the importance of before now. Quick tells him to draw Moonspawn, and they are transported within the chamber. Quickben walks around the room and says each name of the fallen soldiers. Rake worked the magic personally to ensure their bodies would be preserved. The wizard also leaves a pebble so he can maybe return one day with Kalam and Fiddler. They leave, Quick stepping through the portal first. Piran thinks it's too late, but he blesses the bridge burners anyways, and after he leaves, a new glow suffuses the chamber. One of mystery. Gruntle tells Beauchelin and Colwell Broach to wear their best to a meeting with the Bull brothers, and then goes to find Tok and Naster. Tok has no idea what being a mortal sword means, and Gruntle says neither does he. Tok offers a walk and a drink, and Gruntle goes to find Stani to join them. Piran watches Quickben speak with the Trigull Trade Guild and reassures Picker that no one could have done better. Dujek says there's back pay for the entire company of bridge burners in a wagon, and it's dedicated to the handful left, enough for each to buy an estate and live a full life. He has one last mission for them, however, to take care of someone that's in Baruch's care. Dujek says Piran is welcome to come with him to 7 cities, but the captain declines, saying he wasn't cut out to be a soldier. Dujek vehemently disagrees, saying the captain is noble. Piran realizes that he's made it as a bridge burner. Tok is greeted by a stranger covered in scars, who calls him brother and says he wished to make sure he is well. The man returns to his sister in the forest and says he'll need to make a new sword. Envy offers to escort the Segula home. Hatan and Kafal come upon 2 travelers headed north. Hatan is taken by the man, who reveals that his name is Onos Tulan. She says she can tell he's not bedded a woman for some time, and he smiles at her and agrees. Every time I thought I was close to the end of that, it just kept going on and on and on.
Oh, I know. The more I kept reading, I was like, wow, that was a lot.
Oh, what a good ending, though.
You know, it was really good.
So first scene, I don't have too much. Krull just promising Colin earlier that he's not here to harm the Mibe. Also, Krull saying that humans being audacious is their best gift.
Yeah. I thought the only thing that I thought was interesting through this whole thing was the idea of the dream and that she will be the one holding the Bourne, it sounds like, or the
Yeah.
land that they'll live in, which I thought was kind of curious, but
Yeah, someone makes a comment. 2 different characters say the exact same thing about both the Mibe and Burn, which is she sleeps to dream.
yeah. And so I don't know, I just thought that was interesting and that I think it's cool though. I mean, we see throughout the rest of the chapter just how much though that like does for her, and like she kind of like regains her life back and perspective back, which I think is really cool.
Silver Fox goes into her warren. See, this is what I was talking about, I think, in Deadhouse Gates, that it would be harder to make summaries because there's so many short sections right after the other here.
I know not gonna lie, when I was reading this last night, the amount of times I like slowly reread things, because granted a lot happened, but like just because of how jumpy it felt some spots, I was like, could we not just finish this thought and then move on to the next one?
Some people feel that way. I rather enjoy it because one thing that you know you'll never have to do with Malazan is, unlike in Wheel of Time, if you don't like a character's POV at the moment and then you have to spend
It's
six
true.
chapters with them.
Yeah, but I mean, like this one just felt a little too jumpy for my taste. Like it'd be really good, like in a show, I feel like kind of hopping around between different things. Like I feel like this is actually like a really well written like piece for like a TV show or a
Yeah,
movie. But in terms of reading, it's a little too jumpy, but like
that's that's
I do
fair.
like that we get to see so many POVs though. Yeah.
I do like this is the first real note that I had. I really like the Maib thinking about motherhood and
Yeah.
how is the simple pain of birth the wellspring of love? Everyone else believed so. They took the bond of mother and child as given, a natural consequence of the birth itself. And yeah, not everyone's cut out to be a parent,
No.
or ready to be a parent at the moment.
Yeah. I think parenthood comes at a time when you feel the most ready, even though you're not ready to an extent.
Yeah,
It's just the most ready you can be. And yeah, no, I thought it was a really cool reflection on that. Like, I think actually the Maib, as depressing and kind of a bothersome issue was to read, was kind of a cool perspective to get that you don't always think about.
yeah. Ikovian
Mm.
throughout the whole
I
chapter.
mean, the first real note I had was a Kovian embracing the Talana Mass. Like, it would take way too long to go through each individual moment. But what I
Uh-huh.
thought was really cool was seeing each moment or just small moments of different members of the Talana Mass that Kovian got to see, which I thought was really cool, which I feel like mortalized them more, if that's a way to say it.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought it was really cool to see that just because we got to see like small glimpses and slice of life moments for each one. And then itself, I thought it was cool to see a Kovian like talk about his life back to them, which I thought
Yes.
was a really cool perspective, which kind of explains more of his mentality and kind of what brought him to where he was, which I feel like we don't always get to see with a lot of characters. We don't get to see like glimpses at all into their past. So just even that was really cool to see. Just like, oh, so that's how he grew up, like in a
Hmm.
very kind of rigid household. So that's why he would kind of structure himself that way, I feel like, because that's how he sees the world.
Cool little detail. The very last flash from the IMAS that we get is from Koenig Toll, who's in the prologue, and
Hmm.
he's talking about when they killed the mother in the prologue.
Oh, I think I missed that one.
Yeah. I,
That's
Koenig
cool.
Toll, watched as my hunters hurled their spears. She fell without making a sound, the last of her kind on this continent.
Gotcha. Hmm.
Um, yeah, then Prantrol comes to guide Kovian, and then we get literal memories of ice raining down from the sky in the dream world, which giving it life, which is just so cool.
Oh yeah. I think I think that's a cool thought that memories give life. So I don't know, kind of like that memories give life meaning. And so it gave that new world a world within a world, like the seeds of life, which I think is cool that that's what they'll get to go back to, is that
Yeah.
place.
Erickson is very good at literalizing metaphors.
Oh yeah. No, this he does a killer job at it.
Did
Let's
you have
see.
anything else about that?
No, just well, I guess a little bit. Just it was nice to finally see Silver Fox perspective on what her plan was and how it sort of kind of works out in the end, but not how at all how she was planning.
Yeah. It She should have told people her plan, and then it might
I
have worked
know.
out.
And so, because then I thought it was kind of funny where she's like, I had these four souls in me and nothing worked.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, no, that's not going to entirely work all the time. As we've seen throughout this whole story, there's so many variables. It's hard to control anything.
Yeah. Uh Next scene we get the seer putting the matron's power into a finist, like we saw with raced in Gardens of the Moon. Just another object holding,
Yeah,
just an object that holds power for a vast being.
which was interesting. I thought that was a curious move, but then I was like, oh, he's planning just to leave and restart somewhere else, I guess.
Yeah, he was planning on just taking the power for himself, kinda, and fleeing. Much easier to take a
Yeah.
large egg-shaped stone with you than to take an insane giant lizard lady.
Yeah, that's a little easier to carry around.
Just a bit. And then Tool comes and calls Talk brother.
Tool and Talk's relationship just like
Yes.
was like just hits you in the feels. You're just like, wow, that was a cool relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was awesome that Talk is basically just completely broken and Tool's like, don't worry, brother. You're my kin. I got you.
Got you. This is how Obi-Wan and Anakin should have been.
I know. But Anakin was Anakin, so that's on him.
Yeah. And then we've got Hedge's death. What did you think?
Just there was I the whole bridge burners just make me so
Okay.
sad.
Yeah, what did you think about most of the bridge burners getting killed?
Like I feel like this, I'd just rather get it all over with. But no, Hedge, I was like, well, Fiddler's not gonna see him again. So then I was like, feel bad. But I mean, I feel like Hedge went out how he wants or is supposed to go out.
That's exactly if Hedge could have picked a way to die, that is exactly how Hedge
So
would have died.
like that one, as sad as it is, it's like a bittersweet moment because you're like, well, he blew up a large lizard. So and he went out in the explosion. So like that makes sense. Like that's how he's gonna go.
Yeah.
But then slowly seeing everyone else like slowly die, like through fight after fight, like props to the bridge burners. They're some of the best soldiers I've read in stories. Like it takes quite like a lot of these guys to take these guys out.
Yes.
Like we see I'm gonna butcher everyone's names. I'm blanking. It's Trots. I kept thinking like Tot.
Oh,
And then who was the other one? The Nippon. What's her name?
Ditoran.
Ditorin. Yeah. So like watching those two, like basically Trots is like he's not gonna make it, but like he went out as well. Like I feel like the same way as Hedge went out the way he would want to go out, and he went down with a fight, taking a lot of guys out, and same with Ditorin. Like as sad as they were, like these guys were insane, and so part of me was just as surprised that they made it as far as they did in these fights.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Trotz dies with a grin on his face.
Yep. But kind of going back to, I guess, Hedges right around there. Lady Envy.
Yeah.
I I I didn't mind her for most of the story, but like through the ending, I was like, you're kind of annoying.
Oh, absolutely. She's always been this annoying. You just
I just didn't care as much, but in this context, I was like, wow, she's terrible.
yeah, like, oh, what's going on? Oh my, you're bleeding. I'll heal you. Come help me first. Or come help me and I'll heal you, yeah.
I was like, lady, there's literal change from all destroying these bridge burners, and you're just so nonchalant about everything.
Hmm.
Granted, she's immortal, so it's like you kind of got to give her some leniency there, but they don't exactly like her still.
Yeah. This is where Prawn sends the other bridge burners down. Is it bad that I find it kind of funny? The next scene, Dujek realizing that a soldier he's been dragging has lost his legs and is dead, and he just drops him.
It's it's a little, I feel like dark humor there. Like I really feel bad for Dujek because you can tell like there's just so much going on. He's just doing what he can, and I feel bad because like in this scene as well, he realizes and is like, well, they went down with the fight, like his like honor guard, I guess. But no, it is a little bit like, oh, that's too bad, buddy. You didn't realize he didn't have legs and was long gone.
Hmm. And then a soldier comes and is like, "Yeah, we're just rigging buildings to drop on top of him. It seems to work." And yeah, we're holding. And dude is like, "That noble with the sneer, I could kiss him right now."
Now that I thought was funny because I was like, that would be a scene I would want to watch.
Gruntle and the Gray Swords are preparing to charge.
Not much there. It's just cool to see how Gruntle's I think this is cool, just his power to unite him as one big animal.
Yeah,
Just pretty cool. Oh, then Corlat, yeah. No, this
yeah.
was kind of crazy.
Patron, we see a bit of how powerful he is. He decimates like the entire top of the wall.
Which, to be honest, I feel bad for Taishran in some ways not for
Yeah,
some of his past decisions, but he's pretty cool. I'll give him that in terms of like sheer raw power. Like seeing this, I'm like, okay, no, this guy knows what he's doing.
yeah. Even Corlat looks at his power and is like, this is what Rake was taking on by himself. Like she's impressed. And
Yeah.
this is with him pushing through the sickness in the
Yep.
Warrens.
So this, like, I wonder what it would have been like if, I wonder how a lot of this would have gone without the poisoning of the Warrens. But no, it would have been interesting to see how powerful Taishran would have been in this situation without all the limitations.
I think for that answer, we can go see chapter 2 of Gardens of the Moon.
I
It's the
know,
Seed of the
but
Pale.
that's different than this. I want to see it
Yeah.
against like a chain Shamal.
Yeah, and then Corlat veers into her dragon form.
Heck yeah, that was so cool. I was like, Dragon POV, let's go.
Yeah. And then Brood looks around and thinks the situation is hopeless, so he's ready to end the world right then, right there.
Which is kind of crazy. I was like, oh, it's game over in Brood's mind.
Yeah. In his mind, the Panions are winning, which means the crippled god is winning, and if he wins here, then Brood's not sure that there's anyone else that would be able to stop him.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy because I was like, well, it's a good game, everyone. That was fun. Series could wrap up right here on a very depressing note. Brood destroys the world. He's like, never mind, this isn't gonna work out.
Because this is not grimdark, so there's got to be some good stuff that goes down too.
Yeah,
Next scene is Envy asking, "Will this take long?" And Picker's like, "No, it won't."
yeah, that was sad.
And then the next, we could just we'll take on the next scene right now because it leads right into it. Envy
Yeah,
realizes too late that Picker was being like sarcastic and fatalistic, and immediately snaps her fingers, kills everyone, but too late.
yep. Sorry, sorry, two gone. Detorin though, going back a little bit, goes through most of them. That was a cool fight scene to read. I was like, wow, that was impressive.
Yes, she does a lot, including jamming her fingers in someone's eyes.
Yeah. I was like, dang, she is she is serious. It
Mm-hmm.
means business. I thought it was kind of funny. This I did think was funny. When was it Mallet? Yeah, it was Mallet who got stabbed by Trotz's sword.
Oh yeah. As many people would say, shit happens,
I
especially
know.
in battle.
Because he's like, you stabbed me. And then he sees Trotz. He's like, oh,
Oh,
that's not as bad as you how you are.
yeah, and then they joke a little bit, and Mallet's like, "You sent a score, and you sent half of them running," and Trotz is like, "Yeah, it must have been Spindle's shirt."
Yeah, I forgot about that. Spindle would be one to go against.
Next scene, we've got Tool has to finally have his face off with Mock.
And Mock is the third, right?
Yeah,
Is he the top of this
he,
group?
yeah, he's the top of this group.
Okay. That's why I was trying to remember like is I beat the other guys. Isn't this like the top?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, and they're hitting so hard that sparks are flying from their swords enough to illuminate the rest of the room for talk. Or yeah, for talk.
Yeah. Which is just insane. Like these are the
It,
scenes I'm
it's an
like
anime fight.
exactly. I'm like this is the scene. I don't care too much what else being made. I just want some of these scenes to be animated. Like these blinding fast and later when we see the other Segula like fight the Kachain Shamal and like everyone's just like how are they moving so fast? I'm like that's the only thing I want to see.
I just have this image, and I think it's a clip from Dragon Ball Z. I just have this image whenever I think of an anime fight of it's Goku and someone and they're just flying all around the screen, just kicking and punching, moving at blinding fast speeds.
Yeah, I've seen one Dragon Ball, so and I think that's basically the same thing across most of them. So they're just flying around the sky, decimating the entire world at blazing fast speeds.
And then Talk impales himself to free the god from his cage of ribs. Do you think Talk was gone at this moment?
How so? Like mentally or
Like dead? Because he does get impaled on like a wooden spar
Mhm.
thing.
I was like, there's no way he's dead. Like there's gonna be some god that's like, no, he's been through too much. Let's give him another shot. Because as well, like his soul was kind of entwined with this wolf. What was it? Tog?
Tog and Talk. Yep.
Fantasy names. They're so they're
There,
so tough
there,
to follow.
there is a reason for this one, for why they're so close, but Rapho.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, like at least they're similar enough that I'm like, okay, that like all goes together. But no, part of me was like, okay, that really sucks that he dies, but he's gonna have another shot somehow, some other way. I was like, he can't be dead.
Hey, you were right.
Yeah, I was very happy to see Talk alive.
Yes. Yeah, and then the god sends out a howl that stops Brood, and then all the undead wolves just decimate the Change Mall. And it's like, well, thank you.
Finally. I thought it was interesting though that it felt like it kind of stopped a lot of people. Like I feel like for a brief moment I was like, oh, there is something happened. Something big happened.
The howl hurled around the world.
Yeah, definitely was. Because I definitely imagine this like as a very big scene where like you kind of like in the movie where like like it's a brief stop. Everyone's silent and like kind of looks around and then resumes fighting. But
After the wave of thousands of undead giant wolves runs through.
which I was like, okay, good. They definitely need it.
Hmm. Next scene, Piran and Quickben see the Segula fighting the hunters, and then Moonspawn rises up out of the ocean.
Yes. Chills, literal chills.
Yeah.
That was such a cool scene. I was reading this and I think this was kind of where the page number I was thinking of stopping at around this general area. And I was gonna finish up like this morning or something, but I was like, nope, I'm just gonna finish this all tonight. Because as soon as I saw Moonspawn emerge the way it did, and then like completely unveil like Corralled Ghislaine, is that how it
Yes.
is?
Hmm.
I was like, this is too cool. I'm like, I'm just gonna finish this.
So then you read another 50 pages.
Basically, yeah.
Nice. Uh, just that description, that quote unquote shot of Piran being like, yeah, it's slowly spinning, and there on the ledge is one lone figure with white hair.
So cool.
I imagine this is a terrible comparison, but it's Loki on the ship rising out of the fog. Your savior is here.
Yeah, I mean, that's more of a comedic take on it, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if Rake would be saying that, but
No. And Rake and Moonspawn don't do a ton here other than destroy the keep because plans have changed.
oh yeah, no, they have. But I think it's interesting, just notes from like reading this of like Brood and there's some other people seeing the unveiling of their Warren. He's like, wow, that's what they've been doing, and this is the power they're going to unleash. He's like, okay.
Yeah. Brood, this immortal ascendant, is like, this has never been done before. What's going to happen?
Yeah. So I love that because I was like, I am so happy that was included because I was like, okay, this is serious then.
Uh-huh.
If you got this immortal that like never happened, like we'll see if there's anything left standing at the end of this.
To the point that later we learn that Coral now exists both in the Malazan world and in the Warren of Darkness simultaneously.
Which is just insane.
Uh-huh.
Don't know how that works, but it does.
And then I love this. Such a tiny snapshot of it, Kovian, but you are mortal. I am mortal. You cannot carry our pain. I can. You cannot deliver it. I shall. Kovian, your pain, Talon MS, now. Like, I'm doing this.
He's like, this is why I'm here, guys.
Yep.
He's like, don't worry. Give it to me. And then he dies.
Yep. We already talked about the scene with Envy and the bridge burners that are still alive.
Yep.
The next scene is very much a sibling scene. Kalava coming and knocking out the Segula and being like, "You couldn't beat him? What kind of first sword are you?"
He's immortal, for crying out loud. He's like, yeah, no, they're actually really good. They would beat a lot of
Yeah.
people.
And he's the third. There's two more guys that are better than him
So is it like, is it okay? So there's only two more people better than this third?
in the Segula culture, yes.
Oh, okay.
But
Because I thought it was like there's one and then there's like a handful of twos, a handful of threes, but
mm-mm.
it's like one, two, three.
The first we will learn a little bit more later, not in Book of the Fallen, but in Novels of the Malazan Empire. And I think the top 1,000 of them are ranked, and then after that, it's groups.
Oh, okay. And Animander made it to seventh.
Hmm.
So he's the seventh swordsman of the Siguli.
Yep. And they've kept the mask for him for thousands of years and call him Black Sword,
Interesting. That's insane.
which makes me wonder. So how does one advance from eighth to sixth?
Yeah. I wonder if it's like an honorary position that they just hold.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes me wonder how strong the second and first are.
The Segula first was in that list of people that Brood was saying to Keller, like, you've never faced these people, so how can you know that you're really the best?
Yeah, and I mean, if Whiskey Jack, if his leg didn't break, would have been bested by him, I
Yeah,
think. And we learn later on, Decimel Tour had struggled against Whiskey Jack for a while until like he just gets worn out.
yeah.
So Cowlor is not nearly as good as some of the other guys, I think, thinking of
Nope.
it that way.
He picks his opponents wisely.
Yeah.
Tool will go help Lennis Tog find the summoner,
Yep.
aka Silver Fox, and Kalava
Um,
stays behind and is like, here, you're loyal to this mortals and you're denying your reunion that's been long awaited, but guess what? Here you go. Here's your path. They're both at the same place. Go. And it's like, oh, Kalava, that was nice.
you know, her and Tool crack me up still though, because she comes in as a panther to knock
Hmm.
him out.
And and
Uh,
Tool after or yeah, later in that scene, Tool is like, and then come find me. And she's like, why? Why would I find you? You're my sister. Come find me.
she's like, oh, okay. Is that what siblings do?
It's like, oh yeah, we're still family. Envy and the bridge burners enter right after Kalava's gone. And the bridge burners are like, screw you, Envy. We are going back to the army or we're gonna die trying because we don't care anymore.
Like, we're out of here.
And she totally throws a tantrum. I help you and this is how you answer me. I want company.
Yeah. No, the more we saw her throughout this chapter is like, Andy, you are the worst.
Yep. Rake owns her later though, which I appreciate.
Oh, that was hilarious. I thought, okay, the Segule, every time I see them fight, I'm like, can we just, I want just a novel on them, just them. Because I was like, this is insane. This is so cool.
There is a novel of the Malazan Empire that features them prominently.
Oh, it does? Okay. That's good to know. Because when it's each one fighting the hunters and just going as fast as they are, and I love
Yep.
how Quick Ben was like, they're Segule, we're screwed. Because he
Yep.
thinks they may be against him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's game over."
Yep. And then Moonspawn is about to destroy the roof, so Prawn's like, we gotta go.
Yeah,
They all rush into a portal. Grunto collapses against a wall. His legion has been decimated. Light goes out across the city because the Darkness Warren is taken over.
Mhm.
And Gorta's like, man, it took all this just to get 50 paces inside the gate. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's war sometimes.
Yeah. And I feel bad because it's like he didn't want this on himself. And like you can see him
Hmm.
looking around and just seeing like I barely have anyone left of my group. And he's like, we were a big group, but big enough to be like that whole tiger thing or whatever it was. But definitely feel bad for him.
And then Corlat and Orphantal see some Malazan ships approaching, and I have to read what Orphantal tells his sister here.
It's so good.
I would guard you, brother. The enemy is destroyed, Corlat. What you would guard, staying with me, is the heart within you. You would fend it from pain, from loss. Sister, he deserves more. Go down now. To grieve is the gift of the living, a gift so many of our kin have long lost. Do not retreat. Descend, Corlat, to the mortal realm.
Yeah. No, that was well written, I think.
What else can you say?
I-
Grief is a gift that the living give to the dead.
Yeah. No, I like his ball. He's like, you know what it's like to be mortal again. He's like, that's a gift,
Mm-hmm.
which is like which I feel like is a way of saying as well, like you have perspective of life, like you understand some more things that we have forgotten.
Yeah.
And then and then I think it's interesting to see, is this where Brood sees her,
Yeah.
right?
The salty water cascading down from Moonspawn and her tears join them, and then Brood is just like, that's sticking with me.
Yeah. And it's another one of those moments. I feel like Brood's just like I don't know if he can do much in some of these fights just because the power he holds. Like he can literally destroy the world. But I really appreciate his perspective in some of these because this is basically kind of the same case of like this guy's immortal and this is what he like this is gonna stick with him. Out of everything he's seen, this will be like one for the ages.
Yes. When Erickson nails like scenery or like the shot of a scene, he nails it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh yeah, and the Mott Irregulars were inside the walls before everybody and started killing mages.
He's okay. I had this thought of them. Do you so you're watching Avatar again, right? Do you remember the swamp people in
Yes,
that? That's what I think the Mont regulars are like sometimes.
they do come from a swamp. So,
Because they have like kind of obscure talents they really don't see anywhere else, but they're really good with them. And that's kind of the thought I had reading this last night. I was like, because I kept thinking, like, who are these guys like? They remind me of someone. I was like, it's the swamp guys in Avatar.
yep. Speaking of, the live action for that comes out on Netflix in 2 days.
2 days. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Uh, Silver Fox finds some Rivi spirits who are excited that the Beast Thrones are about to be reoccupied. She's mad about it because it didn't go according to her plan.
I'm like, she still has so much to learn.
Uh-huh. Well, again, she's got some souls inside her, but she was born like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Who are the original occupants of it? Do we know? Of the Beast
Uh, it
Thrones?
it was Tog and Fanderay, I believe,
And now they're back.
and they were separated and lost their
Okay.
thrones, and now they're back. Yeah,
Okay, okay. Because I was like, I'm pretty sure it was these guys themselves that held it originally. So that makes sense.
and their reunion scene of how their minds touch for a brief moment, and that's all it takes. It reminds me of people that I know where I can go 2 years without seeing them, and as soon as we're back together, it's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool seed to read.
Then we Krupp is passing on his dream world to the Maib. It will become hers. She is the vessel for this Warren.
So did Krupp have that Warren then? That was his?
You know, I think it might be great to ask Lee about that on when we record with him because I still don't fully understand the relationship between Krupp's dream and this dream world and Talan because they all kind of seem to be the same thing.
maybe Krupp was occupying it for a time and preparing it because he and Cruel, I assume it was him and Cruel that had been planning like a reemergence of this Warren and the power
Yeah.
or
Krill's
something. I
been
don't know.
Krill's been planning this for a while with planning to reunite Tog and Fanderay. And then Hood was involved as well because Silver Fox made an agreement with Hood to let her mom continue on.
Which is pretty cool, Hood. This is I feel like I've said this too many times, but like I want to know who Hood is. Like this just like he seems like not too bad of a guy. Like you don't mess with him and he'll, treat you with respect. Like he came, like wasn't it Hood himself that took the mortal sword of Fenner?
Yep.
So it's like, and then here he is with the Maib. He's made a deal with Silver Fox. Like I feel like he's not a horrible guy. So like where like when do we get to know about him? Like he seems so cool.
We'll learn more. We will learn more. Quite a bit more, I'll say.
Yes. That's why I like to hear.
And then the next scene, I'll read my favorite quote. I might get emotional, but I don't care. Uh, this has just like become one of my life mottos. We humans do not understand compassion. In each moment of our lives, we betray it. We know of its worth, yet in knowing, we then attach to it a value. We guard the giving of it, believing it must be earned. Compassion is priceless in the truest sense of the word. It must be given freely in abundance. That's like my favorite quote ever, I think,
It's a good one.
because compassion, I never thought of it until I read this, but compassion isn't really compassion if it's earned. And I feel like lots of the ending of this book kind of embodies that as well. Like Ikovian obviously embracing the IMAS, but also you've got what Piran and Quickbend do for the Seer,
Oh yeah.
and you've got what Silver Fox and Krupp do for the Maib.
No, 100%. I like we'll get more to it, but I definitely think it was really cool of what Quick Band Prawn did for the Jagged Seer.
I honestly have this quote memorized. If I could figure out a way to turn it into a tattoo, it might be my first tattoo, but it's real long and complicated.
Yeah, that'd be a little tough.
There's another quote in the series that I think would be easier that I really love that we haven't seen yet. So yeah, and this is also where we get Kovian's backstory.
Yeah. Oh, Tantalian.
Mm-hmm. And the one moment he saw his mom smile was when he left, and I think she was smiling because he was escaping.
Yep. A hard, just man.
I think now that my father embraced in order to possess, that she was a prisoner.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
I was the shield anvil, but now I am done.
And he dies.
And he dies. So I made a comment to one of our coworkers right after it was the day after we had recorded that scene with Whiskey Jack and Kovian where Kovian feels like they won't meet again. And I made a comment
Uh
to our coworker like, little does Matt know, both of those characters will be dead by the end of the book.
yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, dang it. Now they're both dead.
Yeah, and then last episode, I think you were like, when they had that conversation, I felt for sure it was Kovian that would die. And I didn't have the heart to say, well,
See, and his death, like, I understand. Like, it was just kind of like meant to be as
yes.
sad as it is to say. But Whiskey Jack, that was just stupid. His leg freaking broke. And that's how he died.
Yep.
He should have retired to the countryside. He didn't get the opportunity.
No, it was to his mountain castle with Corlat.
Oh, that's right. It's the mountain castle because she wouldn't like the countryside.
Yeah, I think about Kovian a lot. I think it's maybe the most selfless act I've ever seen in fantasy.
Yeah, I agree.
Next scene is Tool confronting Silver Fox, you being like, you are not turning away from me. She releases the A, and then Tog throws a sword down at her feet and is like, no, I have a request.
He's like, I don't want to be this anymore.
Yep.
Which honestly, he is reluctant to be it from the start.
True. He only went along with the ritual because he was the first sword and everyone else was.
Yeah. So Tool's ending, I was happy because I'm like, don't tell me he's gonna be destroyed from a stupid grudge match with the third sword or third Sugule. I'm like, this is not how he's supposed to end.
Yeah. And then we get Quickbin and Piran and what they do. Did you figure out before this scene that the Panion Seer was one of the Jagut kids from the prologue?
Uh Not before this scene, no. Like as soon as it was mentioned though, I was like, everything just fell into place. I was like,
Yep.
okay, this makes sense. This makes sense.
Yep. The seer was willing to go along with the crippled god and be a vessel for his power because of all of the torture that he's endured in the rent for
Yep.
thousands upon thousands of years.
And how did he get out of the rent? That's what I was curious by, because I'm like, how did you get out when both you and your sister went in? And it didn't really
Hmm.
say, from what I could tell. Because from what it sounded like in the prologue, it was they went in and the matron was released.
Yes, that is true. Quickben just says to the seer, "Didn't you understand that the matron could only take one, you?" So I think the matron took him out of the warren, out of the rent for some reason. I don't know. That's all the
Hmm,
explanation we get.
it's weird.
Yeah, so obviously the seer is still bitter at Kalava.
Oh,
Um,
understandably so.
they don't quite know if they can forgive each other, but they agree to move on.
Yeah. I really like the idea of like, he's like, I'm gonna work through some things. Like, I'm gonna try and get past this.
Yeah, he needs some therapy.
Which I thought was cool that in like a strange sort of sense, that's kind of what he was saying. He's like, I'm gonna go see a therapist.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That's
work on myself.
so
Yeah,
no,
and
this whole scene was so cool. Just the Piran and Quick Ben were able to pull that all off.
yep, using the matron's finish, putting it back in the rent to free her, and just it's heartbreaking, but also so like hopeful when she raises her arms out up to him.
Yep. Yeah. And I
Um,
thought it was cool that this was Hood's deal again that they made to wipe her mind or kind of reset
yeah,
her memories.
Quickben and Telemandus worked on it, and Telemandus is a servant of Hood. So yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, and Kalawa just drops the bomb here, like Talk is dead. Fran's like, wait, hold up. I thought he was dead already. Nah, he just died.
He went on a bit of a journey with my brother and then an immortal goddess, the Segule. Then he was captured by the seer and tortured for a while, and then finally he was killed. He's like, oh, that adds up.
I remember back at the beginning of the book, you were like, oh, so this burn infection thing is going to be a big deal for like the series. And I was thinking, oh, well, it's solved at the end of this book.
Yep. I was like, dang it. None of this adds up to how I thought it
It,
would be.
it makes a lot of sense, though. Like the Ice Warren is going to heal her fever.
Yeah. No, 100%. I was like, all right, I guess that works.
And that witch from earlier shows that one of Quickben's pebbles. And she's like, see, I was giving you a hint earlier when I say I like the cold. That's as cryptic a hint as Cedric in the Goblet of Fire but telling Harry to take a bath. Like, no help at all without the proper context.
Oh, I know. Take a bath. Take a bath, you hippie.
Gruntle finally accepts his title Immortal Sword when one of his followers tells him, well, you bought that title in blood, so you better keep it. And he's like, fine.
He's like, okay, that's understandable now.
That's fair. You all followed me to your deaths. That's fine.
He's like, I don't exactly want this, but I accept it now.
And Dujik is just broken,
Oh
as
yeah.
tends to happen when your best friend dies.
Yep. No, yeah. No, I felt bad for Dujek. 'Cause he's like,
Yeah.
I wasn't the one that was supposed to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Talk wakes up in an Aster's body.
That was weird. Not gonna lie. I was like, hold on.
Yep. That I made sure to emphasize in the summary. One-eyed and Aster on the hill. I made sure to point out when he lost his eye because he lost the same eye that Talk had lost. So as
Yep.
far as Talk is concerned, he's got the same vision.
Yep.
And now he's the mortal sword of Tog and Fanderay.
Good for him. Good for him.
I feel like Silver Fox finally gets her place among the IMAS.
Yeah.
Because
Not
Prantrell is like, well, we get why you were doing what you did now, so there's nothing to forgive. You had good intentions. But don't release us until we go save our people.
yeah. Which I feel like she's like finally understanding how to connect with people in a sense of just like, can I just like I'll just go with you. Like
Yeah.
you're my folks. So I'm glad it's like that feels like a good resolve for that story arc, I think.
Yep. Oh, and then
Um,
we've got Picker. Picker really stuck out to me in this read more than she has in the past.
I noticed her quite a bit for the most part, just because she's brought up so much and made
Yeah.
lieutenant and everything. But this scene was very sad.
Yep. Uh, the wagon carrying the dead bridge burners. First in, last out for the last time.
Yep. And I was like, that's, yeah, I just felt bad for her. Like, I just felt sad because it was like, we see in Pale, all of them were killed except a small number of them. Through the whole course of this, it's been one by one, dwindling in numbers until this siege and third camp just all decimated.
Yeah. Now it's the six of them, Quick Ben, Fiddler, Kalam, and then you can add Piran in there as well if you want.
Yeah.
But it's like 10 of them.
Yep. No, I did love the Rake and Envy scene though.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Rake's like, if I knew you were here, I would have brought it down further.
And she's like, "Well, your stupid sword. My dad's trying to escape." He's like, "I know everything going on with my sword. I know Piran was in there. I know the hounds escaped." He's like, "I know what's going on."
Yeah. She's like, I've traveled half a continent to bring you words of vital import. And he's like, oh, Draconis is trying to escape? I'm surprised it hasn't happened before now. Oh, what else? Piran walked within my sword and sent two hounds into darkness? Yeah, whatever. I know.
Yep. And then just like turns and walks away.
And he's like, we worked hard together to kill Draconis the first time. Well, you did nothing during the fight. You just stood and watched. Yeah, and what did you think my dad thought of that? Well, he asked you to do nothing. He asked you to stay away. He knew better than to ask for your help.
I know. Just completely destroys her. He's like, "Nope. Don't you don't you know that I know everything?"
Yeah. Picker's not doing well either. Because Blend's
Mhm.
like, you did everything you could, which she did. And Picker's like, yeah, but it's not enough.
Yeah. And then I do love like Rake has been just so cool this story because
Yes.
he's just like, can I walk with you guys? She's like, you mean a bunch of losers? He's like, that's not how I see it. I'd be honored just to be in your presence. She's like, oh, yeah, please come with us then.
Yeah. Um, Corlat, I think, is justified in lying to Dujek about Whiskey Jack's leg.
Yeah,
But Mallet sees Whiskey Jack.
and
Mallet the
knows.
healer, who's offered many times to heal his leg, and immediately puts it together.
Yeah, no, I felt so bad for Mallet. I was like, just because knowing who Whiskey Jack was through this whole story, like Mallet being as close as he was to him was like, you idiot. It's like I should have just knocked him out and then healed his leg, and this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's real sad too, because later we hear that they're watching him to make sure he doesn't kill himself
Yeah.
because of the guilt.
Which, I mean, it's like it's not Mallet's fault though. That's what he needs to understand. Like in his position, he did what he could, but Whiskey Jack just didn't let him,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
Yep. And then Rake continuing being an absolute Chad is like these three bodies, which I haven't pointed this out yet. I love like we never get their names, but the two Marines that died trying to protect Silver Fox that just stayed with her through the whole book.
Hmm.
We don't ever get their names, but they're treated as just as important.
No, 100%. Which
He's yeah.
No, I like just kind of adding to that. I 100% think that because they stood against Calor with Whiskey Jack. Like they didn't hesitate. They got immediately killed in their efforts, but they still made the effort to stand with them
Yeah.
and didn't shrink, which I thought was awesome. And so then when Rake's like, Moonspawn's going down, I want to put all the bridge burners and Whiskey Jack and the Marines in there. Like they should be have an honorable burial.
Yeah. And Dujak's like, pick her. It's your choice. And she tries to make a joke like, they always wanted to see what was inside.
Yeah.
Um, Piran and Quickbend step out of the table, and one of the mod regulars is like, well, that's a table, not a door.
I laughed at that part. I was like, okay, these guys are awesome. He's like, I got a question. Uh, I'm a little confused on how things work around here because that's a table, not a door.
Yeah. I get emotional every time I read this ritual for Kovian of everybody
hmm
giving him something, just honoring him, the Tulane Mass and every Malazan soldier. If you couldn't tell, Malazans are big on ritual and symbolism.
Yeah, definitely are. I thought it was really cool to see like they're having the conversation because Grintle comes over, right?
Hmm.
And they turn around to see the one Malazan, and then slowly like the massive lion and group forms. They're like, oh, I guess yeah, no, this is a big deal.
Yeah, the soldier that took it Kovian's helmet wants to give it back. She's like, no, he would refuse it, and he's like, well, I'll just give it back to him. He
He's
can't
like,
say,
you can't say no now.
uh-huh. But yeah, Sorcery, by the end, it's this massive mound. Sorcery's gonna hold every object in place, and then Gruntle taking the Torx off his arm, and Treach live with the loss, or Treach learn to live with the loss. We do, and it's like, oh, that
Yeah,
that hits me every time.
there was multiple. This was one of multiple scenes where I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Uh-huh. It's like 5 or 6 times in this chapter in the epilogue that got me. Um, yeah, next scene is Piran regretting that he wasn't there for Whiskey Jack's funeral
Yeah.
because he never understood the need before because he's never had anyone close to him die before.
Yep. And now Whiskey Jack died. And so I thought this was a cool thing. Ron's ability to just draw something and then Quick Ben's like, and now we go.
Quickman
But
kind of goes through his own ritual inside too, kind of
mhm.
saying everyone's name, making jokes,
You can
talking
tell
about memories with them.
it was heavy-hearted though.
Yes.
You can like I feel like Quick Ben's like tries to be in the background so like things don't affect him as much. But this was one of those moments where I feel like Quick Ben, it kind of like it really weighed on him. Like he was pretty sad to see all of his friends dead.
Yeah, you can see that when he places a pebble down. Just Quickman and his pebbles. And Prawn kind of looks at him and he gives like this sad smile, like, I might want to come back here.
Yeah. He's like, Kalam will want to see this.
Kalam and Fiddler, yeah.
Yeah.
And then very nice ending to the scene, Prawn thinking, it's too late. I can picture this being in a TV show in the finale episode. Prawn
Yeah.
thinking like it's too late, but I bless you, all of you, and then steps through the portal, and then just a glow comes back into the chamber.
Yep. No, that was a really, really cool scene.
Uh, Much more lighthearted scene. Gruntle finds himself in the path of Beauchelain and Corwell Birch again, and they ask what they should wear, or they ask for advice for meeting with the Bull brothers. He's like, "Wear your best," and then talks like, "I don't. What does being a mortal sword mean exactly? I'm not sure. Should we just like go get drunk together?
He's like, I got a case of some ale. Do you want to go chat and figure things out? Yeah, why not?
I'll go grab Stunny. Stunny? She's a friend, a woman. Oh, a woman. I like her already."
He's like, the only one I've been around is the tennis gallery and Lady Envy for the
Yeah.
past while. But then I love this scene of Dujek's like, guys, go retire. Uh, no one made it. You guys are good to go.
Yeah, as far as we're concerned, no one made it. That wagon of back pay, by the way, is for the entire company of bridge burners, and it's for like six of you that are left.
Yep. Which is just crazy to me.
And then he's like, and tell High Mage Quickbend to get over here. Because Tayshawn's insisting he can't hide anymore.
After what he's done, definitely not.
He mentions Fist Aragan here. Once again, we've seen Aragan in both books before. He is the recruiter that takes down Sari's name, and then he's the soldier
Um,
at the keep in Mock's Hold that Kalam pushes out of the way when he's attacked by Claw.
gotcha.
And
Okay.
and in that scene in Deadhouse Gates, Aragan mentions that he's due for a new posting in 2 days. To leave for a new posting in 2 days. This is it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That's kind of cool. I love how Prawn finally feels accepted, which is cool.
Yes, go join your fellow bridge burners.
Yeah.
I love Dujek's compliment to Piran too. Think what you like about yourself, but we will continue seeing you as you are, a noble man. Not that kind of noble, Ganos. This is the kind that's earned, the only kind that means anything, because in this day and age, it's damned rare.
I have a lot of respect for Dujek. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, the fact that like Piran mentions, he looks 10 years older already from this news of Whiskey Jack, and Dujek's still like, all right, time to go to Seven Cities.
Like they need my help, I guess.
When Dujek mentioned this one last mission to care for someone, did you have any idea who it would be?
Uh, I was trying to remember because I'm like, I feel like I should know who this is until we got to the prologue, and I was like, that makes sense. I'm like, that is who I thought it would be.
Epilogue.
Yeah,
You said
the epilogue.
prologue.
Same bit, same thing.
Calling epigraphs epilogues and
This
calling
so
epilogues
this epigraph
prologues.
here at the end.
Yeah. And then just a really nice scene of Tool coming up to talk, not telling him who he is, but just like, I wanted to make sure that you were okay.
I want to make sure my brother was all right.
Uh-huh. And then later, Hatan coming along and in her usual way being like, I like you. Let's bang.
I feel like she's like smitten though by him.
Yeah. And Tool's like, yeah, yeah, let's do that.
He's like, I like this already. Being
Uh-huh.
back.
Yep. So that's the end of chapter 25. The epilogue. Perron drops his gold off at the Azath house in Darujistan, where he will take up residence, and he endures Wraith's sarcasm. Outside the house, he encounters a beggar without working legs who tells him of a vast sum of wealth in the hills outside the city, and says he knows of a house that welcomes strangers. In Kroll's Belfry, which the bridge burners have turned into a tavern, the soldiers and Darujistan crew sit almost silent, along with an old decrepit figure, Duiker. Picker says that it's time for stories, but no one wants to tell the tale of Quarrel because it's too fresh. Duiker speaks up and begins the tale of Coltane, newly raised fist of the Seventh Army. I
Yeah.
got chills just reading that summary at the end there.
I'm like, what an ending. That epigraph, that prologue, that
Uh-huh.
epilogue, whatever it's called. I thought Prawn's bit was hilarious. He's like, I'm home.
Yeah.
Here's my stuff. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. I'll be back later.
Yeah. What are you gonna clean up the mess in the entryway? I'll do something about it.
No. Is this beggar anyone that I should know?
Yes, if you'll recall a certain artist that was on his way to the crippled god at the beginning of the book, who had tumors
Ah,
in his
okay.
legs.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Manug.
Minug. What a good name.
Ominous cackling when he says he knows of a house that welcomes strangers. The House of Chains,
Ah, yep, yep, yep.
which is the title of the next book.
Well, as soon as it said it was Dewicker, I was like, I'm glad he's back.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Baruch walks in, and Krupp has just finished telling his story of his dream world escapades, and Baruch's like, no, no, stop talking. I'll hear it another time, okay? Hopefully never. Um, but
Yeah.
no one wants to tell stories because, Coral just happened.
Yeah. It's kind of depressing. So I love
Yeah.
how Dewicker finally speaking, he's like, well, I'll tell a depressing tale of Coltane.
I got to read exactly what he says because Spindle says, "Sure, a story to break our hearts all over again. What's the value in that?" And then Duiker says, "There is value. Value, yes, I think much value, but not yours, soldiers. Not yet. Too soon for you." And he's also staring at the scrap of cloth that nameless Marine had her name written on.
Yep.
Then what a what an ending line to a book. Very well, permit me, if you will, on this night, to break your hearts once more. This is the story of the chain of dogs, of Coltane of the Crow clan, newly come fist to the Seventh Army.
And that's it. Memories of Ice. We did it.
Memories of Ice. My favorite of the first three.
That was good. I am torn between two and three, but that was really good.
10 out of 10, no notes for me.
Yeah, I was like, that is what I call a five-star book right there. That was well done.
Yep. Two massive battles, bunch of heart-wrenching moments,
Yeah.
some feel-good moments, plot twist, love. It's like the dad at the beginning of The Princess Bride. Murders, giants, escapes, romance.
What more could you want?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, it was good, and I'm excited to talk about our thoughts
Yes.
entirely. That'll be fun.
Yes. We'll do a wrap-up episode of Memories of Ice with both Lee and Mora. Um, Glad both of them can be on this time for this wrap-up episode. And then I think the episode after that, we're going to do the first novella
The
of Beauchelin
Beauchelin.
and Corbel Brooch.
It's a fun little intermission.
Yeah, we'll just do one episode on that. And
So,
then we will go into House of Chains,
yep.
which has incredibly different sized font.
I haven't even looked at it.
My version does at least. Yours might.
I'll have to look. Because I know it's like the same thing with Stormlight Archive. The font just gets progressively smaller, it feels like. So, anyways,
Yeah. Um, I'm excited that I convinced Matt to keep reading after Whiskey Jack.
still so sad about that. Last night I was like, I don't even want to think about this. I'm just gonna watch like a funny video for a bit and then go to bed.
Nice.
I was like, I'll think about this in the morning.
Yep. So we'll talk about all of our favorite stuff with Mora and Lee. But until
Yeah.
then, how was that, Todd?